I'm just removing the back door so I can tackle this rust up here. It's a bit awkward to get to the nuts because they're right tucked away up in here. Right in the middle of sorting this out, I've welded one piece in up there. I've just cut a smaller piece here, and that's to be welded in there. And then I'll weld another strip down there. Still need to do a bit at the bottom there, but I can do that with the door attached. That's all repaired up there. Much better than it was before. And the door's back on. Closes lovely now. There's no resistance whatsoever. So the side lights are working okay. These ones are working all right, but this one isn't. And lo and behold, more of these stupid Scotch block bloody things. They look all right. The brake light and the rear tail lights. It. Hi guys, and welcome to the next episode of my van build series. And in today's video I'm going to be insulating the floor. I need to make a subfloor frame, and then I'm going to be insulating that and then putting the ply floor back in, which I originally took out. If you've been following the build so far, you'll know that I've recently dealt with quite a few rust holes in the floor. I welded all those up and I've repaired the floor properly, so it's all protected now, ready for us to start the build. I also showed you another method for repairing holes if you haven't got a welder, so you could check those videos out if you're interested. But in today's video it's going to be about insulating the floor. Buy cheap, buy twice, as they say. I got this cheaper metal paint from Screwfix and it's a water-based paint. I didn't read the small print, but it says do not apply when air or surface temperatures are below 10 degrees, and I applied it when it was below 10 degrees. It took 3 days to dry and it started bringing rusty spots up here and there, so had to start again and apply Hammerite instead. As you can see, my apprentice up there painting the floor again. I've done all the prep work, keyed up the surface, swept it out, wiped it down, and she's come along to do the jammy bit. Good morning everyone, here we are, another day. We just had McDonald's breakfast, which was very nice. Here you're looking at about £100 worth of building materials. It doesn't get you very much these days. So I've got a couple of sheets of 25mm insulation board, a couple of 3x2s and some of these roofing battens. Now I'm just going to give it a wipe over if there's any dirt in here. It looks pretty clean. So before I make the subframe for the floor, I'm just going to insulate the wheel arches. Here I have some soundproofing mat, and I'm just going to cut this into smaller pieces to stick on the wheel arches, and that's just to dampen the sounds, dampen the vibrations over the panels. You only need a small amount to stop those vibrations. I see people completely cover the wheel arches, and in my opinion that's a bit of a waste, because you only need to cover 30% of the panel with this stuff for it to be effective, and any more than that and it doesn't really make much more of a difference. Let's get this and just stick it on there. I'm not going to go over the top with it. Got a load of this bubble wrap insulation stuff, which I'm going to be reusing for just doing the wheel arches. And here we go, I've just got some aluminium tape, sealing up the edges. It's important to seal it up as it acts as a vapour barrier, and that stops condensation getting on your metal and rusting it. I'm going to be using this miter saw for cutting down the roofing battens, but you could just use a handsaw. This way is just a bit quicker if you've got a miter saw. And with this stand you can adjust it so it supports longer materials, so that's quite handy. So there we have our subfloor frame. I sort of made it up as I went along, just keeping the spacing nice and even. So now we need to go about gluing this down. I'm going to try and avoid using screws, as I don't want to make any more holes in the floor, because that just encourages rust to grow. And we know what happens with rust, it starts growing until you've got no van left. Let's try and use this polyurethane adhesive for sticking these battens down. We can leave that to dry overnight, and then tomorrow we can fill the holes in with our 25mm insulation boards. Just marking either side of where the batten's going to be. Now I'm just going to get a dollop of this adhesive. Simply get the batten and give it a wiggle in position. That goes on there, making sure it's nice and square. Bit of wood glue. So that's a subframe all glued in. The next step is to fill the gaps in with our 25mm insulation boards. Trying to use up all these little offcuts in the floor, so it's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. Just using a bit of standing foam, stick that in there. Stick that in there. Now I'm going to fill the gap down the edge. And now I'm just using a saw to take off all the high bits of foam. I've run out of aluminium foil tape, so I'm just using a bit of duct tape to finish off joining these pieces together. So all the joints taped up. So the next step will be to put the ply floor back in. That's the ply floor back in. I just reused the existing floor to keep costs down. It's not too bad. I had to repair it in places where this corner was rotten because the gas locker had been leaking. So I cut out the rot and just put in a piece of new ply, a couple of patches up there, and I had to fill these holes in here as well. And that concludes this episode of the van build series. I hope you found this video useful and you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you click that alarm bell, you'll get notifications when I post new videos. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Cheers guys, take care. I managed to get this side light working in the end. It turns out it was just a loose connection on the back of the plug. I changed all the Scotch block connections to soldered joints as well. There for the tow bar socket. So hopefully that'll work if ever I need to use it.